Welcome back, my Freeform Renegades. You are tuned into the Freeform Network. Thanks for joining us for another fun episode of Freeform Radio. I'm your host, Noel, and my co-host, Daniel.
Yes, sir. Back together for another one.
And Andy.
Andy's here and I ain't sick.
Well, that's good news. It's another beautiful day here in Chicago. And wherever you listeners are, we hope you're sitting cool and feeling good. And we're going to get this popping. Right now, the hot topic of discussion, as many of you will all know around this time when this episode pops off, you know that Avengers just came out and everybody's talking about it. So, of course, we're going to hit it up as well. So, Andy, I heard you saw it this weekend. Let me know what your thoughts are.
So just to be, we're going to follow internet etiquette. This is going to be fucking full of spoilers. If you want to hear it, then I don't want to say fuck off because we actually want you to listen, but get ready because you're going to get fucking spoilers here. So
I would say at least fast forward a good 10 minutes and you should be good to go.
There you go, man. You have your timestamp, but if in 10 minutes come out and you hear people are dying, then just keep forward until you hit the sweet spot. But yeah, man, like that's the talk, man. It's the mega blockbuster, the conclusion or the last round for this phase. I actually heard that Spider-Man Far From Home is the conclusion to this next this final Marvel phase. But I like as I posted on my Facebook page, I've been waiting for this movie my whole life, and let's say
it was worth the wait, Andy.
It was worth the wait. Even when I was 5, I'm like, I can't wait for Avengers Endgame. So overall, I mean, I was not disappointed. There was like one or two things where I was kind of swerved on. I thought for sure Captain America was gonna die, and he didn't. And the Tony Stark, we all knew that was gonna happen. The Thanos early on, that like the first 10 minutes where he dies or they kill him, I was kind of shocked about how quick. I was like, well, what the fuck are we going to do? But you get to see him die twice in this movie, so I was not disappointed.
Right. What are your quick thoughts, Noel? Because you saw it as well, right?
Yeah, I saw it this Saturday in the morning. It was pretty good. Like, honestly, I know I'm one to like really pretty much all comic book movies, but this one stood out. Like, it was great to see like the whole group again. Like, they even show at one point Thanos brings out his army and he kind of makes it personal. It starts feeling like everybody's about to lose, like the Avengers are about to lose, and then out of nowhere you hear Falcon, who's like just newly resurrected, and everybody else starts coming through these portals that Doctor Strange and all the other wizards open up. Dude, it was sick. Like, there was a lot of good moments in it. And, of course, it's really sad that Tony Stark had to die. But I feel like Spider-Man, I think he's still got a future. Because I think they all sign up for, like, about 6 movies. So I think the Tom Holland, I think his name is, the actor that plays Spider-Man.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure he's going to be in the next phase of movies as well. If I'm not mistaken, I think Nick Fury is going to recruit him to probably be in the Avengers now.
Yeah, the trailer kind of hints at that. I don't know if you've seen the trailer or not.
Yeah, I saw a teaser for it, and I'm not sure if that's the same trailer you saw.
Yeah, they released a trailer, I think it was yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah.
And before the trailer even starts, Tom Holland comes on and he's like, if you haven't seen Endgame, don't watch this trailer. Watch Endgame, then come back and watch this trailer because they do spoil a little bit of the movie. And like you mentioned, Noel, they do hint as to Nick Fury starting up a new group of superheroes. But yeah, I watched Endgame as well. Went to watch it during the week, trying to beat some of that weekend crowd. And it was good, man. It was a good movie. I don't know if it was the best movie ever in the world.
What?
All these people saying that, it was the best movie ever. I think that's a little much. There is a lot of movies out there, but it was a good movie, and it definitely is up there in the top 20-something.
If this isn't the best movie ever, then what is the best movie ever?
No Holds Barred, man.
Oh, shit, man. I mean, I could agree it's a top 5, but it's not the best ever.
Right. But yeah, Avengers was good, man. My favorite kind of spots was the Hulk stuff, the Smart Hulk. I used to be a collector of Hulk comic books, and when he had that smart Bruce Banner Hulk mix, it was always the best comics. It was when they could do the most stuff. It wasn't just Hulk rampaging, and I think they even make fun of it during the movie. Just because they kind of time travel and see the old group together, and everybody gets to see how the Hulk was just a mindless brute, and so he even makes fun of himself. He's like, yeah, I guess I'm not like that anymore.
I was kind of disappointed by that. I was with him with the glasses on. I'm like, man, anybody could beat him up. This ain't impressive to me no more.
Right. I mean, he wasn't the overpowering Hulk anymore. But as the Infinity Gauntlet or Wars, I forgot what the one before this was called. The Incredible Hulk just wasn't enough for Thanos. So I think it was smart for them to kind of change it up, give a little bit alternative of the Hulk, which he has done in the comics. And like I mentioned, I was a Hulk comic book collector, so it kind of tickled my nostalgia where I was just like, yeah, this is cool that they're playing it up as the Smart Hulk. And then the other funny part, which I really don't collect Thanos or Thor comics, but just haven't seen him fat and kind of bumming around was a good funny spot as well. And I know that was Junior's best spot in the movie as well.
How dare you fat shame Thor, man? He was husky.
Right. Yeah, he definitely had a shop in the plus size husky section.
Yeah, he looked like Eminem when he was all pissed off. You've been seeing the memes of him just sulking there in the corner. He looked like Eminem. I didn't like how they portrayed him. Again, like it's a complete 180 for that character because I mean, technically he is a god. Like he's the god of thunder, and to see him like that was. I mean, it was challenging to say the least for me because I didn't like how he was being portrayed or the Hulk.
I don't know, man. To me, they're Avengers. They're super powered. There's only so many things you could put Superman through and Batman through and Captain America and all these superheroes. Sometimes you have to give them a human aspect. Give them a human challenge. The best parts of Spider-Man, the movie, was the part where he was a teenager and he had to deal with being a kid and dealing with having to go to work and go to school and dealing with his aunt and having a parent figure and having to answer to that parent figure. Those are the best parts of those comics. I mean, yeah, it's fun.
It's fun to what, Danny? Uh-oh. You still there, Noel?
Yeah, I'm here.
Man, we lost him.
You're gonna
be able to hear him finish that thought.
Somebody snapped their fingers and now he's gone, man.
Yeah, there you go. Man, we'll keep on going. Maybe he'll join us in a little bit. But did you think the portrayal of Thor or Hulk? Do you feel like, to me, that was just like a complete 180?
I think they've really underutilized those characters. They really could have been so much more and so much more powerful. I don't know if you ever watched the animated series, but there's always been like this inside joke between Thor and Hulk about who's the strongest Avenger. And of course, they always think that they're the only strongest Avenger. So to me, those two are probably the most powerful. And it's because Hulk has really no upper limit to his strength in terms of as long as he gets more angry.
The more mad he gets, the more... what did you write? Am I still online?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
There you go. You're back, man.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I must have dropped off for a minute. My computer was kind of acting weird today.
Man. When you jumped off, our ratings dropped, man.
Oh yeah, I probably.
But we were just talking about Noel's thoughts on Hulk and Thor and his take on their portrayal. Now that everybody's on, what do you guys think about the I saw the Captain Marvel movie, guys. Movie. You guys, I believe Noel did it, and if I remember correctly, you didn't either, Danny.
No, I really don't have any intent on watching it. The more and more I read into this lady, the actress, the more and more I kind of don't ever want to watch that movie. You could kind of even see it in her mannerisms. If mannerism is not sexist, I believe it's unisexual. Uh, but it's exactly that, man, that she is the reverse sexist man. And she just like super women power and men suck and men aren't worth anything. And if you're, stressing for equality, I don't think that's the right route to go because I don't like men bashing women and I don't like women bashing men just as well.
Well, yeah, with there's so much that the conflict in issues that movie brought up. They made such hype about how strong she was. She was a female, and then to see her with this movie, I thought she was gonna have more of an impact, and she didn't. So that leads me to believe, like, I don't know if they have bigger plans for her, but in this movie, her what was promised was not delivered here, and not that I was disappointed. There was a lot of hoopla around it, and nothing came of it. I feel.
I'm curious if that is the original version they intended to show, because I heard rumors and they're just rumors, so I'm not sure if it's validated yet or not. But I heard rumors about them redoing some stuff after everything that Brie Larson said. They didn't want Captain Marvel to beat Thanos. Like I guess originally that was what was gonna happen, and it was supposed to be this big event about female like winning the war or whatever. But I think after what she said, like it's just like it's gonna be bad press to have her like be the victor or be the one that just defeats him after all this 21 movies being built up without her in it, and just to come out of nowhere and win, like it might anger a lot of the fans. So I'm not sure, but yeah.
Well, there you have it. She, like I said, she underdelivered. The other thing, that's about the only critique I had about the movie. And the other thing was, I feel
Curious to see the.
Whoa.
Still there, Danny?
He's lagging.
Yeah.
Well, what are you gonna do?
So he mentioned something. We're curious to see if Danny could get that internet fixed. So, but yeah, I mean, the only other thing my issue with the movie was not issue, but I feel like the things with the certain characters like Ant-Man, they were really shitting on him in the movie, and he's the one that actually came up with the idea of how to reverse everything. In the portrayal of Hawkeye it's an improvement, but like, damn, man, to make him relevant, he had to go murder like a shitload of people.
Yeah, I know what you mean. This whole series, Ant-Man's been getting shit on. Like the whole series, no one's giving him respect. No one treats him like he's an Avenger, like he's a real hero. And to me, I really liked that he was like pretty much a badass throughout the whole movie, even though they don't acknowledge him. Like us as the viewers know who he is, what he's done, what he's capable of. So when he saved Hulk and who was it, Rocket?
Yeah.
And he got really freaking huge, like a giant, and then he punches out and knocks out like this big flying like bug thing. I was like, holy shit, dude! It was one of the cooler moments of the movie.
Right.
I'm an Ant-Man fan, so when I saw him like busting ass and shit and kicking ass, I was like, damn, dude, this props to him, finally being like portrayed with the strength that he's capable of.
Yeah, Rocket Raccoon. He had a big role. I was kind of shocked how much he was in the movie. You there, Danny?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I pop in every now and then. I don't know, man. This government cheese internet, man, it's not cutting it anymore for this high quality, high octane podcast that we do, man.
That's why we need people to donate, or we need a sponsor so we could get some upgrades going.
Heck yeah, man.
But overall, the movie was solid. I recommend it. I'm tempted. I actually want to go see it again just to see what exactly that I missed, man.
Jesus Christ, man.
What's wrong with that, man? Don't you want to re-see it, man?
Dude, just wait until it comes out on
I
TV,
can't,
man.
man.
Jesus
TV.
Christ.
Shit, man. You going? It's gonna be like fucking 5 years.
What happened, Daniel? You used to be such a freaking Marvel fan, dude. You had comic after comic. What happened, dude?
It's just a super fandom. It's just like, relax.
You said relax, and you went away, Danny. You still there?
It's getting taken over by Ultron.
I know, man. That's what happens when you talk shit about Marvel. The fanboys come out and cut you out. But let me see. We're trying to get back Danny here, guys. So overall, Noel, do you recommend the movie?
Oh, 100%. I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10. And just make sure when you watch it, if you're not watching it in the comfort of your home and you're watching the theater, make sure you use the washroom first because it's a long movie. It's a long ride.
Real quick, the other thing I have going on is I've been buying a lot of stuff from my fellow coworkers, and I feel that he might be back. It might cause conflict with them if the shit doesn't work how I want it to.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm going to try to restart.
Restart your life or your computer, sir?
Restart the universe.
There you go. He's trying to go multiverse on his people, but me and Noel are going to keep chugging along here. So yeah, we're good. Like I said, I'm going to buy a car from a coworker. I'm going to buy some patio furniture and a grill. Right before I came out here, I was messaging a guy about a grill, and it looks pretty good. So I'm going to end up buying this and some patio furniture, but I'm afraid if it doesn't work, I might have to kick his ass at work during lunch break.
Well, you better study that Muay Thai and fucking jiu-jitsu, man. Show him some new tricks.
Even though I'm getting a great price, it's gonna be, if it doesn't work, there's gonna be problems.
Well, so how long have you known this coworker?
He's been there for a while, and he's really into selling. He's a I want to call a hustler, and he's really trying to sell stuff. And anything you could get, he could pretty much get it for you. So that's why I just mentioned, hey, I'm looking for a grill. And he goes, yeah, I got a grill. And then he started sending me pictures and shit. And then he gets all excited because, he's making money, and he likes selling shit. So, but that's all I got going on. Since we're waiting for Danny to come and join us back, hopefully, because he gets that government cheese internet. I know you've been at this. The weather's getting better, Noel, and I hear. Are you doing that crazy sport where you throw the disc into chain nets again?
Yep.
Or are you doing something different? I didn't know. I know you wrote something different here on my notes. I'm like, I think he's doing that frisbee thing again.
Yep. Yeah. I wanted to make it easy for you guys because I know you guys can't pronounce the word.
Frolfing.
Froth, yeah, not Frolflin, it's Frolfing.
Frolfing. So I'm always like, oh man, he didn't write that other word. I'm like, I'm gonna sound like an idiot because I don't know what it is, and I don't want to write what you wrote. Disc golf, people. I'm like, that ain't the proper term, man. I'm trying to educate myself here.
Well, to be honest, actually, a lot of people refer to it this way. I actually talked about it at work one time, and I called it froth. And the lady's like, "What? I heard it's called disc golf. What the fuck is this?" Just like it's the same shit. It's a different word, frisbee, golf, froth,
So, are you going by yourself? I know last time you were going with your cousin. You think you improved from last year? What's going on?
Yeah. So my two cousins, one of them got me into the whole froth thing, and unfortunately, he works late shift. So on the weekends, we'll hang out sometimes, but usually to watch UFC or something. So he didn't go with me. It was my other cousin that fishes. And so we went to the spot. It's, I want to say, near Bensonville. It's not too far from Bensonville. And it's a pretty sick spot, man. Like, it's got about 8 holes, and it's a pretty big park that like is combined with like an actual like forest preserve park area. Anyway, it was fun, dude. Just being out there in the weather, especially after it rained most of the week. The weekend was
Oh,
beautiful.
yeah. Yeah, there's a thing here, but where I live, and I see a lot of people when I go for runs out there when the weather's nice. There's a lot of people doing it, and I always when I see them, I'm thinking of no about you. I'm like, man, I wonder if Noel's gonna do this year. Then I saw on your thing here, I'm like, oh, it looks like he's gonna do it again. So because it is a very different sport. If you didn't tell me what it was, I wouldn't know what those chain nets are for at the park right out here where I live.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, I didn't know about it much either until my cousin Ismail showed me this, and he's already been into it for like over a year, so he already knew how to throw the disc and everything. There's a certain way to do it. It gets pretty complex from the get-go, but then once you start playing, you get the hang of it, just like any other sport you're learning for the first time. And to me, it's fun. It's a little easier. Well, in certain aspects, it's easier than golf, but the relaxation part, I think, is very, very similar.
So are you doing it like for you said to relax? Would you join like? Is there even a league? And
Uh,
like, are like, is there like different rules for different parts of the country? Like, this is something that I'm imagining. Like, I don't know, it's like at a Midwest thing or something. Like, you know.
well, just like any sport, even bowling and stuff like that, there's leagues and there's competitiveness. I definitely would never fucking do that, man. I'm not about competing with people. I just want to enjoy life. It's not a competition to me. We're all just doing the best we can.
I
So
what's going on, man? Don't you want to kick some other guy's ass?
if I'm gonna do it, I'd do it in the UFC. Wouldn't do it
God
in
damn,
a
man.
froth game. Like it's a froth game doesn't mean to me the same way it probably means to that guy. So I wouldn't even be able to compete in a real sense.
Man, it's not what you should be like. Hell yeah, I'm gonna fuck him up.
Oh, I
And
didn't say
like
I
I'm
would
gonna
lose.
froth this shit to his face.
I didn't say I would lose. I just wouldn't be all like gung ho for it. I wouldn't be freaking just like really amped up. You know what I'm saying? Like basketball is more competitive. If I were to play basketball, then yeah, it'd probably be more competitive. But froth, I'm not even that like versed in it yet, dude. I just started out, so it's like I'd probably just a little casual. I'm not trying to talk shit here, and then next thing I know, I got a line of people wanting to just school me. You know what I'm saying?
That's why you should raise up to the challenge, man, and give these guys some shit.
But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what I did this weekend. That and of course watch UFC. If I was gonna kick somebody's ass, I'd probably do it in a UFC ring or octagon, as they say it.
Where was the latest UFC at? I didn't even know they had one. Or was this an ESPN like fight night type of thing?
Yeah, this is UFC ESPN. This was in Ottawa, and Cowboy Cerrone was the main event. He fought Ally Akinta.
And who won?
Donald Cerrone won that one. It was a good fight though. Like, he didn't do a finish. It went to decision, so it went the full 5 rounds, 25 minutes of just back and forth punches, kicks. It was a pretty entertaining fight to say the least. And from this point, it's looking a lot more like he's gonna get that title shot, or if not in the future, he's gonna definitely be fighting Conor McGregor.
McGregor. I thought he retired. Or no, he got suspended, right?
Yeah, so McGregor has been going through a lot of legal issues.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it started with an altercation that he had, like a physical assault, like he punched somebody that talked shit about him, and then I believe he impregnated a woman, potentially, allegedly, and she's trying to like get money from him for that, and then
Allegedly.
allegedly, and then I think he also smashed the shit out of some guy's phone, and
Yeah, I
so
heard about that one.
he got arrested for that. He's just been going through so much shit, man. I
He
can't even.
settled that one. So you think he was gonna fight the guy that beat him last time? I thought there was like a rematch thing in the works, or he don't want to fight him again. The
So
champ don't want to fight him, right?
the Khabib is the one that beat him for the title, and I don't believe Khabib will fight him again. He's actually Khabib is suspended right now for the altercation they had afterwards when he jumped out of the ring. He was gonna attack one of Connor's like group mates,
Oh,
and
that's right.
so after Khabib did that, they suspended him for like I want to say like 6 or 8 months or something like that. He's gonna be I think eligible September, which is probably when he'll actually fight again. But I don't think it's gonna be against Connor. If anybody, it's probably gonna be against Poirier, Dustin Poirier. He just won his last fight, which was for like the number one contender. Like if this was wrestling, so he's the number one contender. He's lined up. He's got the interim belt, around his waist. So Khabib's got to fight him, Otherwise, Poirier's the interim or the real champ. It's so. Uh, McGregor, I think, is going to fight Cowboy, and that's what I'm actually hoping because McGregor doesn't even deserve that title shot again. I don't know if you're kind of aware of what happened with the fight, but he got dominated, man, his last fight.
And the Khabib one.
Oh yeah, oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I saw that one. Yeah, the guy, the Russian or whatever, was fucking him up. Khabib was fucking him up.
If it was like a Russian prison, dude, McGregor would be fucking lying in a pool of blood, all just fucked up, dude.
Yeah, the other thing, the USC, I heard that Brock Lesnar said he's done. Right, he told Dana White he's done,
Yeah,
and that
the
who was
Roy's
he?
tied up.
Who was he supposed to fight? Cormier, right?
Yep, for
And
the
then
head.
they announced Cormier was gonna fight somebody else right now, right away as soon as that retirement thing came out.
Yeah, he's gonna fight Stipe, which is the guy he won the belt from. So he's getting the rematch now.
What was the? Did you see the John Jones one, the comeback fight? Right? Did he look good? But he tested positive after the fight, right?
Uh no, I don't know if he did. I don't believe he did. I know he tested positive way before the fight, and they let him slide because he already tested
Oh
positive
yes,
before.
yeah.
So yeah, like it's a
Because they
lot of
moved the venue and
bullshit.
all that shit, right?
Exactly. They denied the fight initially because he tested positive for metabolites of something that he tested positive for like a year ago. And they say that it's just always going to be there now. Like it's never going to go away. It's going to pulse up and pulse up, which to me is bullshit. To me, what that means is he's cycling these steroids or whatever he's using. He's cycling it to the point where when they get tested, it goes down to a small microscopic picogram level. And it's bullshit, but
Did Did
he,
you hear the Joe Rogan podcast? He was defending him, right?
yeah, Joe, honest, like he's a good guy. Joe, like 99% of him is good, but every 1% he'll have some comment like that where it's just like, come on, man, you seriously got this guy's back on that?
That it was left over from when he was doing it or something
Yeah,
from his last times or whatever.
the thing is, Joe is going off of like I think he can't really badmouth the UFC too much at this point. So I think he's going off of what they're saying, which is, yeah, it's picograms, this and that, their excuses, and he just accepts it because he's like, well, what am I going to say? Like these excuses are terrible. It's plausible that yeah, it's pulsing, right? But is it
Yeah.
likely? No, no, I don't think that's likely.
Um, we got breaking news. I think we might have Danny back. Are you there, sir?
I think I'm back, man. I
Wow,
think
man,
I'm
with
back.
his voice got some deep bass.
Right,
And
right,
he's
man.
sounding like
I think
he
it was
back and run.
these super nerds that
You were
hated me
hacked.
bashing on Avengers, man. They were coming after me.
What's that thing where the point of they attack your server so the shit can't do anything?
Right, right, man.
Whatever the hell that's called. That's what they're doing to your router at the house, Danny.
All I know is that you super nerds can't keep me down.
Man, Danny's just looking for trouble, man, like McGregor here.
So I hear the conversations UFC. Did you like it, Noel? The last one?
Ah, dude, it was great, man. It was pretty much what I wanted to see. An exciting fight. Not necessarily who I wanted to see win throughout all the fights, but definitely worth watching. And it's kind of how I ended that night after I played disc golf. I was telling Andy, but yeah, that's the sports I was getting into, man. I heard you were getting into some sports yourself, into baseball again.
Right, man. These last couple years, I mean, ever since I had Junior, it's been kind of tough to watch any sports at all. Um, so I've been kind of taking a step away from it and just catch it from the background, but not really watch it. But this year, I made more of a conscious effort to actually watch baseball, and so far this year, I've watched 3 games. Uh, and I gotta say, man, it's giving me that itch again that watch more, enjoy the nuance of baseball, and just watching the White Sox, especially since they're not doing half bad right now. Right now they're playing half decent. They got a lot of young kids that are playing very well, and they're staying competitive. Yeah, there's a blowout every now and then just because the pitching's not all there just yet, and you got a bunch of young players, but man, it's exciting. It's exciting. It's got me hungry to watch more. It's got me even hungry to even shell out a few bucks and maybe go watch a game or two at the ballpark.
Yeah, this year I'm glad you said the White Sox. You didn't say that in the beginning. I'm like, man, maybe he's what? Sounds like he's talking about the Cubs.
No, man.
But yeah, the Sox are young. They're hungry. They're not giving up. They fight back. The only issue I've seen so far is they got no pitching, and one of their better pitchers got hurt. So, but they're hitting home runs. They're coming. They're getting consistent hits, and they're getting some clutch hitting. So, if they get their pitching right, man, maybe they'll do something. But they're close to or around 500 since so far this year.
Right. I was just watching the game just before I came in and jumped online, and it was competitive until just around the fourth right now, and Cleveland just scored like another 2 runs on us. So it's still in reach, but I'm not sure how the baseball game's going so far. But like I mentioned, man, Alana's giving me some me time to watch some baseball, and man, it's been great. It's been great getting back into it.
Oh yeah, dude. I remember the good times when we used to go to the actual ballpark and see it in person. Those were, man, some of the greatest memories.
Right, man, and even Junior really enjoyed. I took him last year to Elvis Night, more for Elvis Night than the White Sox, just because the White Sox were kind of terrible last year. Um, but Junior actually really enjoyed it. We spent a lot of time by the fundamentals at the stadium where they give kids opportunities to play a bunch of activities and just uh, you know pick up shortstop base hits and stuff like that. Man, it was really fun. Base what do they call those batting cages, pitching machines, and it was just a bunch of cool stuff for Junior to do. So he really enjoyed it, and he even picked up a little bit of Elvis. So he's mentioned to me he wants to try to go back this year again and enjoy the greatness that Elvis is, plus watch a little White Sox.
That's good, man. Get them started young. I mean, I started. My dad with me started really young, and I was in some little leagues. So, yeah, as long as the Sox keep it interesting. I mean, it's overall in the city of Chicago between them and the Cubs. I think you get a better value, and it's easy. The tickets they're more affordable than across town.
Right, right, and I'm not dumb. The White Sox are kind of in a rebuilding, struggling phase right now, so I don't have any illusions of World Series run. But they're making it exciting, man. They're making it exciting. These young players are playing very good baseball. So it's really cool. It's really cool to see. The only other thing I've been up to was I've been playing a new game that I've actually had for a while. I bought it almost when it launched, but I haven't had a chance to play it. It's called Detroit Become Human. And the premise of the game is that you play as an android, 3 of them actually, from 3 different perspectives. It's kind of like a Tarantino style movie where you like jump in and out of these different characters and get to watch relatively the same world, but from three different perspectives. So it's very unique in its presentation, as it's something between a walking simulator and a choose your own adventure kind of game, where you do control the character to some extent, but the majority of it is picking what you want to do next, and it gives you from a list of choices, and then the game butterflies from there. And when I mean butterfly, it literally butterflies. So much so that at the end of the chapters, it gives you a breakdown as to your selection and compared to the world selection. So it gives you 15% of people picked this choice, the one you did. The rest of the world picked this. So it lets you see where the world can butterfly into different endings and different results. And it's kind of unique and cool.
So I get that you get to see one character to three different perspectives from other people in the game, or you're a robot?
Right. The time in the world, it's that androids have kind of taken over the world. They're the new people that have taken the jobs, and people are upset because they're more predominant in society. And these androids start becoming sentient. They start having feelings. They start having will of their own. And that's really where the story starts and the game starts. So you take control of three different androids, and it's based in Detroit. So you get to experience this time in this universe where these androids are trying to find their place in the world. From one of the androids is a police officer. He's like a detective. The other one is like a nanny. She takes care of the house and keeps it cleaned up. And then the other one was like a butler, but its master ends up dying and passing away. So then he becomes free and unknowing of what to do with his life. So you got these three aspects of the world, and where the story just keeps going regardless if your character makes decisions. So things are going on in the background, and the game tells you repetitively that if your character dies, it dies and the story continues. So there are chances that your character, from a choice that you make, will die or not continue, and the story will continue without that character. So I haven't had any of my characters die, but I have kind of like read a little bit in blogs and where people get pissed off because they get connected to these characters and they end up passing on, and the story just keeps going and adapts to the choices that you're making.
So you're RoboCop and you go around shooting motherfuckers? You said one of them's a cop.
One of them is a detective, but he's more passive. He's not like super in your face, and it's actually the other people that have the characters of like those super old school badass, like, I'm not sharing information with no android, man. You got to do detective work with us humans. And so there's a lot of like undertone prejudice towards these androids. A lot of that, they're taking our jobs. I used to have a job, but then an android took it over, and now I'm looking for work. So there's a lot of hatred towards these androids, and they're not very sympathetic to that. They're becoming more sentient and want rights of their own.
Man, it's interesting to make a video game like that. So what's like the end game? You just trying to make your character more human-like? Or like what I guess that's what I'm having. It's a little too much thinking. You know how with the video games I like, so I'm trying to figure out what's like the end game, or what's the goal of this robot, just to be a human or more human?
I mean, you're basically just living through this story that the game creators created. So there's no like, hey, you're trying to do this. You're just making decisions in this world. And I haven't gotten to the end. I think I'm about like 75 or 80% of the way through, because I did take a peek as to how many chapters there are, and it looks like there's a handful left. So I'm thinking maybe in another week or two I'll probably be finished with the game, and I'm assuming it's going to come to some crescendo where they're going to have to make a decision as to whether they give androids rights or the humans keep them servient and, keep them as, just doing mundane jobs. So it's really interesting. The studio actually, it's kind of funny. Just yesterday, I read an article that the studio got hit with a lawsuit for sexual harassment. I got a couple of people were getting a little handsy with some of the staff, and it's a pretty big studio. They make a lot of games like this, and I've played a couple of their other games that they've had. Another one was Fahrenheit, and then there was Heavy Rain, and then there was Beyond Two Souls, and they all kind of have that same premise where you walk, you interact with the world, but there's a story going on in the background, and you got a list of choices, and you make that choice, and the story continues. Maybe in the games in the past, it gives you the illusion that your choices matter, but at the end, you still butterfly back to the same endpoint. But this game, it really, since it actually shows you the butterfly, you could see that if you would have gone down this other path, you would have had a totally different outcome. So it's really unique, really different. Not your typical, like Andy, like you mentioned, action shooter. You just go gunning down people. It's really storytelling where you're interacting with it. So it's pretty unique. It's something different, especially since I just finished Red Dead and some of these other big games. It's good to just kind of sit there and watch the story develop and go from there.
So who controls the androids? Like who? I guess that's what I'm looking at. Like your goal in the game is to be I guess to be human, but who controls them, or who do they report to, or what's the deal?
Like you control the character, so you control the android. But
in the story, yeah, I get that.
Right. So you're controlling the android in particular. Like if you're playing a story from the position of the cop and you're playing his story at that time, you'll come onto a murder scene, and then so you have to go around, investigate the crime scene, and then your partner, he's a human, he keeps like giving you shit and keep telling you, well, did you figure it out, Super Brainiac? What happened? And so you have to find all these clues, and there's time. There's like a countdown of time, so you have to hurry up and figure all these things out and kind of piece together everything because they're constantly grilling you. There's a part where you're the nanny and you're picking up the house, and you gotta do laundry, you gotta serve food for the guy that owns you, for him and his daughter, and you start noticing that the dad is an abusive father. And starts hitting the kid, starts doing drugs in front of him. He's kind of like this reckless guy who doesn't really take care of his family. And so you're stuck with the dilemma: do you continue to follow his orders, or do you protect the girl? And so in all these choices that you're making, the story is just continuing. And let's say you're in the living room and you're decided, you know what, I'm going to continue to obey this guy because he already knocked me down once for kind of like looking at him the wrong way. Well, while that story is developing, right? While that story is developing, the screen will go into like a split screen, and you'll see that the little girl is crying in her room, and then you'll see another split screen pop up where you'll see the guy, taking another hit of this like red substance, like the video game drug that they take. And so all these things are happening while you're cleaning up the living room or whatever it is that you decided that you wanted to do. So the story just keeps moving. It's like real time, real life. So it's really cool and engaging. And the game lets you replay these chapters. So, I mean, I haven't done it yet where I kind of flip back and go, oh, let me make a different selection. I just been playing the game the way it's been playing. And I'm thinking I might even go back and play it again and make some different choices and see how it acts out. But it's really cool. I mean, it's the kind of thing that you got to watch and you got to see a trailer to kind of get an understanding. Maybe I didn't explain it well enough.
It sounds like you ever seen that movie? It's a Netflix exclusive movie where.
Yeah, Snatcher, Brain Snatchers, or what's that called?
No. It's about where these people are being attacked by like this like aliens, but it turns out they're humans, and the people that are on Earth are like androids that humans
Oh, right,
created.
right,
I
yeah,
forgot the name of it. It's the with the Mexican guy.
yeah.
That
Extinction,
it might be Extinction. Yeah,
something like that. Yeah,
it's
I
like
did watch that.
the the grandkids of the people who are there are trying to take over Earth again, and like all this crazy shit, and like so that's what I'm trying. If it's something like that, like the some of the androids don't know because they had their memory erased, and some of them know about it, and like all that weird shit.
No, it's not. That was a good movie. I did like that one too. It had a good plot twist because I didn't see that coming.
Yeah,
But this game is you're an android. You're playing as the android, and it's walking that line between serving your master or the person or your job duty, or becoming more independent and trying to do what you think is maybe right, or being a little more independent but disobeying your partner, your boss, and whatnot. So it's really cool. I don't know how many people are interested in stuff like that, but it was definitely a good palate cleanser to clean me up before maybe I dig into another big game that really sucks me in and is more of the same. Shoot, loot, and upgrade, and then shoot, loot, and upgrade again. This is a different style game for sure.
yeah, it sounds very artsy, and like you have to not open world, but you got some options to see whether that character that you're playing takes you.
Right, right. So yeah, that was Detroit Become Human. But guys, why don't we jump into our article of the week?
So here we have the article of the week. Passenger gets disturbing response from airline after facial recognition check-in. And so pretty much after looking at this article, it kind of just it's a really small one, but it gets you to think about just the way things are becoming. So to kind of, summarize it here, it says, instead of scanning her boarding pass and looking at her passport before allowing her to board the plane, Mackenzie Fegan was shocked when she was asked for neither, and instead just had to look into a camera before she was led through to the board. And then she also goes on Twitter and just says, I just boarded an international JetBlue flight. Instead of scanning my boarding pass or handing over my passport, I looked into a camera before being allowed down the jet bridge. Did facial recognition replace boarding passes unbeknownst to me? And did I consent to this? So pretty much what's going on here now is that airlines can tap into government databases to be able to use facial recognition software to let you board the plane without you having to bust out your passport and do a facial recognition, in person, and without having to verify your ID or anything like that. So it gets me to think, like, are they going to be able to, like, is anybody else going to be privy to this information, our face, our name, things like that?
Right.
Yeah, go ahead, Danny.
No, I was just gonna say, man, it is very scary. I remember when they first started those X-ray machines at the airports, so that you can come in and they body check you after 9/11, and they're like, yeah, the scans that they take, the ones that show your privates and all that, it's not going to be released to anybody. It's deleted after it's scanned and blah blah blah. They were giving you all these assurances that your data is not being shared, and then they found out, like a couple years later, that people were uploading these videos and uploading pictures of people, and that your data was actually still in the background somewhere. And it's just, it's scary, man. It's really scary. I don't want to get too far into it, but I was actually listening to Mancow, I think it was yesterday or the day before, on his episode, and he was talking about the government has been keeping tabs on all these people that have been doing those ancestry DNA, the DNA thing, and actually keeping samples of everybody's DNA that has submitted for it. So then that way they can keep a DNA profile of all these people. And they were also mentioning like the Apple face scan thing, so that you can unlock your phone, that there's sharing of face recognition from that software being given to the government so that they can keep a record of your face scan. And it's just a bunch of scary, craziness, kind of like even like Alexa, that Alexa hears you all the time. She's constantly hearing you. So don't say her name too loud, otherwise she's paying attention. So it's just a scary
just
world.
To stop you from talking.
Right.
So yeah, it's you gotta channel your inner Alex Jones, man, because he did talk about this stuff. Last time I traveled, when I was if she's asking for her, she didn't have to present her passport, but she had it on hand. I don't know if JetBlue is international, but I know when I flew, I had to they had apps, and they did have the boarding pass, and you did have to show your airport, or you have to did show your passport. Otherwise, they wouldn't let you on. And even when you come back in, there's kiosks to take your picture. And then you get this thing that tells you if you get the fast express thing, or you have to go actually see a TSA agent or customs agent to let you into the country, and then they again verify your passport and all this other shit. So I do see a picture of a woman here. She looks white. I don't know if that had something to do with it, but when I've done this stuff, usually some red flags get raised, and I got to go to a special line, and they got to talk to me for like a couple minutes.
Oh, that sucks, man.
Dude, I'm a U.S. citizen. I got a passport. I'm on vacation. There's a kiosk that literally it scans your passport, then it takes a picture of your face, and then this thing prints out. And every time I've gone internationally, it puts a big X on my picture, and that means anytime you see a big X, it doesn't mean like that's not a good thing in any fucking language or anything. And then they're like, here, yeah, you got to go over here. I'm like, but I have a connecting flight. Yeah, I understand that, but you got to go here. And my wife wasn't having any of that. And she's like, yeah, I get it. You have to go here. And you stand in line for an extra like 20 minutes to talk to some agent to say, what are you doing? What were you doing in Mexico? Why were you there? Like, I was, vacationing. Why? How long? Why did you go again? And then they're like, okay, welcome back. Like for stupid shit. And there's people just walking right on by on this other side, just being funneled through like easy peasy.
Oh man, yeah, it sucks, man. You wonder if you're profiled, if it's something that is just entered in. Like some guy on the FBI is just listening into every conversation you ever have. And that one time you made fun of like George Bush or something on a text, now you're all of a sudden on some watch list.
Yeah, because it says here on JetBlue, they responded to her tweet. The information is provided by the United States Department of Homeland Security from existing holdings. So that leads you to believe, like, well, where the fuck did they get my picture or whatever this? And like Danny says, I've heard on Alex Jones, the DNA Ancestry.com, it's a CIA black psyops, blah, 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 that they kind of created that shit to get people to submit because they want your DNA and shit.
Right. I mean, at first when the article was kind of shared in the group and we started reading, I'm like, this is one of those fake ones where it's just people just talking. But once I started seeing the screenshots on Twitter from that lady, I was just like, wow, man, this might be real.
And it's recent. This is from April.
Right.
And it says here, JetBlue writes, you are able to opt out of this procedure. Sorry if this made you feel uncomfortable. I mean, well, what's the procedure? Like, it's your boarding pass. It's your system. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's something that they do. So I'm guessing with the help of something that's being fed by government agencies or whatever to tell you, that she's cool, she's not on the list, or she's a fucking terrorist or whatever. So that's the only thing I'm afraid of.
Right, man. It's scary times for sure, man. I don't know what we can do or what our options are, but Man, it's scary, but it's a convenience, man. I mean, we talked about it with your speed pass, the iPass thing, and how you want to give less and less to the government, so that they can track you less.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's I'm not into them knowing what the fuck I'm doing, and I've always been big thing on my privacy. So, again, if you read the article, the picture they have is of a white woman. Usually, they get a pass better than somebody that's a different skin color. I mean, I saw when I was in line, I saw a fucking
You saw a darker Mexican just pass by,
darker
or
Mexicans right behind me. And I
you are
saw
kind of
they
light
had
skinned.
they had a special line for like Arabs. I'm not gonna shit to you. That's what I saw. There was another line that was just full of Arab people, and I'm like, I don't want to be in that line. And then the line I was in, it was just mostly, I would say 80% like Hispanic looking people, and like the rest were like mixed, like some Asian and some like white looking people.
I mean, granted, you were flying back from Mexico, so obviously there are going to be a lot of Mexicans on the flight. So I don't know if that necessarily holds a bearing to what TSA inspection standards are.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, and then they just ask you stupid questions. But like I said, the article JetBlue says you can opt out. I mean, but what are you opting out of? That's something they select. You never really had like the TSA, the fucking pat down and the radar X-ray shit. They tell you could opt out, but when you do, you're the fucking weirdo, and they're putting you in rooms and they're putting their hands up your ass, and they say this is normal, sir. Like when
I'm a professional.
Yeah, when I came back, I went on a trip to Vegas. When I was coming back, they swabbed my hands.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? And like, this is normal. I'm like, I don't see nobody else. And like, the more questions they ask, the bigger asshole you become.
Right. It's almost like you're going against the grain if you start asking questions or start resisting arrest, and before you know it, you're on the floor and somebody's recording you, getting your shit beat out of.
Or they're feeling you up. They're like the monkeys trying to take your manhood.
All right, man.
So yeah, I mean, you got to travel more, Danny and Noel. Let me know if they fucking do this shit to you. To board on a plane, it's pretty easy. They usually just ask for a passport and your boarding pass. If it's domestic, you don't even need it. You just need your boarding pass.
Yeah, I'm curious, man. I personally have never been on an airplane, so I don't know, man.
You never been on a plane?
No, I've never gone anywhere.
So everyone you've gone in the United States, you've driven to?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. How'd you get to Efren's wedding? Did you drive down there or did you fly?
Yeah, we drove, dude. Oh my god.
Holy shit.
It was an adventure, man. I could make a movie about this whole fucking trip, dude.
Damn. No, man, that must have been a long drive, man.
Oh hell yeah. That was about 2-3 nights. And the good thing is it was like a convoy because my aunt and uncle and my cousins, they all went like in the car beside us. So we all entered through the border at the same time. I actually rode with them at one point. I got kind of freaked out because I was afraid they were going to ask for my passport, and I didn't have it with me because it was my dad's truck.
Oh shit.
Like, so I was just like, oh shit, dude. Hopefully I don't get like left behind here. But everything went good.
Yeah, I flew down with Saul so we could spend a couple days partying before the wedding. So yeah, we flew down there. It's crazy that you actually drove down there.
So that's the farthest you drove down to Mexico?
Yeah.
What about if you get married and you want to go to Hawaii or something? You're like, laters, I'm getting on a boat.
I wouldn't mind. I'd prefer a boat, actually.
A boat's kind of rough, dude.
I mean, not a small boat. Like I would be like on a nice
schooner, dude.
Like a cruise ship or something on the way to the destination.
Dude, I don't know how many cruise ships actually sail a year, but you've been seeing a lot more on the news how these sailboats have been or cruise ships have been breaking down, and like thousands of passengers are stranded, and like a case of diarrhea breaks out and the whole cruise ship's infected.
Diarrhea.
And yeah, man, dude, I read about it a couple months ago. I forgot which one, but one of those what do they call it? Carnivals.
Yeah.
That
Carnival. Allegedly.
that there was an outbreak of like diarrhea or whatever, and like 80% of the crew and the ship was infected, and that everybody was sick. The bathrooms were terrible because there was all these people being sick, and it was just terrible.
Yeah.
I still want to go on a cruise, man. That's one of my life goals is to get on a fucking cruise. I've been trying to do it for like the last decade.
Right. I think the majority, it's kind of like flying. You hear every now and then about these problems and accidents, but the majority, 95%, 98% of everything, it goes fine without a problem.
Hopefully, man. That's all you could hope for, and just have a lot of drinking.
There you
Right.
go.
Right. Yeah, man. It was actually the first time today that I had a drink when I got out of work, man. It was one of those rough days that you just need to get home and just have a quick drink just to settle the nerves.
Why were you drinking, Danny? I'm kind of hard to. I don't know how much time or why you drinking after, because you normally don't drink.
Right. I'm not a huge drinker. I mean, I think the last time I drank was probably the Super Bowl. It was the last time that I had a beer. So it was just one of those things that, man, traffic was terrible, and it was just a long day at work. And when I pulled into the driveway, I was just thinking, I'm gonna have me a drink, man.
You have an old style.
No, actually, I had some Southern Comfort on ice.
Oh,
Damn.
yeah.
Holy
Hell
shit.
yeah. I do it right.
Right. Why, I figured, man, you watch those Mad Men, and everybody's always drinking whiskey and drinking, hard liquor, with some ice. I'm like, it's they got to be doing it for a reason. It's got to be good. So I tried it, and man, I was just like, man, this really hits the spot. I'm like, I'm kind of scared that I liked it so much. I hope it doesn't become a habit.
Nah, man, having a good nightcap doesn't do any damage. As long as you're not like drinking during lunch or some shit, you'll be all right.
Not yet.
Yeah, work will do that to you sometimes.
Right. So I hope this podcast doesn't do that to everybody out there. So let's get the hell out of here and wrap this bad boy up. We'd like to thank you all for listening. Remember, follow the Freeform Network on Facebook and Twitter at Freeform Network. Send in those questions and suggestions. We just had an episode a few episodes ago answering all those questions. Keep them coming in. We've gotten a few. Trying to get a few more to maybe get another episode going. Visit our website at freeformnetwork.podbean.com. There, you're going to see all the different vehicles for listening to this podcast. Hit that like and subscribe button, whichever one you're using. Tune into our YouTube. Watch the audio version of a video website. But
a lot of people do that, Danny, believe it or not.
You'd be surprised, but yeah, for sure, man. A lot of people do watch them, so we appreciate it. Hit that subscribe, like. Spread the news of us here at Freeform Network to all your friends, family, co-workers, people that you think might be interested in this kind of podcast. We really appreciate it from everybody here. But for Daniel, thank you very much. My other two co-hosts, Andy.
Always opt out of anything because next somehow you're gonna ended up. You're gonna end up getting felt up.
And Noel.
Thanks everybody for listening. The weather's real nice. Make sure you go outside and enjoy it.
Hell yeah. Crack that window open. Let that breeze come in. Enjoy your night, and we will see you next time.
That was cool, Dad.